Hi, Teresa here with Empty Nest Let's Travel, flying solo today without Lon. Today I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about an important matter that happened to me while we were on a cruise ship. And this is just kind of my experience of things that I wish I'd done differently or things I'd known ahead of time about going on a cruise ship and that I got sick on the cruise ship. So just a little backstory. We took a 10-day cruise in late February, early March, from Taipei, Taiwan, up to the different Japanese islands. It was 10 days and we landed in Tokyo. About the fourth or fifth day in, I got sick and I had to go to the infirmary on board at one of the ports. Was not feeling well the day before, not really that sick, just feeling a little under the weather. And then by the next morning, I had a high fever, bad cough. Ended up, they tested me for COVID and flu and ended up having flu A and ended up in their infirmary for about 3 or 4 hours, quite ill with pneumonia, bronchitis, and flu A symptoms. And in that time period, I had a quarantine in our room for 3 days. So here are some things that I learned because of that experience that hopefully will help you, because it was very expensive to get sick on a cruise ship, but we were able to recap all of our money because we did a couple of preventative things to help us prior to going on the cruise ship. The first thing we did is we have health insurance. We have travel health insurance through IMG. I'm not promoting them. Had some issues getting our money back, but once we figured everything out, we were able to get all the monies back minus a deductible. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is know your insurance. Know what they're going to cover. Know what your deductible is. Contact them before going on the cruise, because I've read articles and things in the news where people were unaware that they won't actually cover you if you're in international waters. So definitely know what your insurance is, how much they'll cover. Contact them before the cruise to get a good realistic idea in case you get sick on the cruise ship, because there are so many people on the cruise ship that will that you can do. The second thing I was going to say is that we purchased the extra insurance offered through the cruise line. The reason we did that is because our deductible is quite high. It was $2,500 annual deductible. So when I looked at the cruise and I knew we were kind of booking way ahead of time, it also covered trip cancellation, other issues that we might have. So I think we spent about $175 for both of us to have it. So we purchased their supplemental insurance through the cruise line, which helped us recoup all of our deductible. So our insurance company paid the out-of-pocket fees up until the deductible. So the total price for both my husband and I was $6,052.47. The insurance company did not cover the $500 that my husband needed for prophylactic care to get medication. He never ended up with the flu, but they gave him a course of Tamiflu just in case, and that just one course of Tamiflu was $500. But when we submitted that to the supplemental insurance, they covered the full $500 and they covered my $2,500 deductible, and then our medical insurance covered the rest. So definitely look into possibly getting the supplemental insurance offered through the cruise line. And the third thing I was going to say, use the services that the cruise line provides for you when you're sick. Because I was confined to my room until I tested negative for the flu, which I did, thank God, 3 days later, because I was put on a lot of medication. I was given free room service anytime I needed it, 24 hours a day, to request drinks, beverages, snacks, food, whatever I needed. Meals were delivered to my room, which was really nice. So I utilized that a lot. They actually, if I forgot or if I was sleeping, they would actually call me around meal times and say, did you want to order anything, which was really nice of them. The other thing, I had guest services calling me at least twice a day asking if I needed anything supplemental, like more towels, more blankets, needed my sheets changed. And through them, I requested some activities to do in cabin, since watching the same old streaming movies over and over again got really boring really quick after 3 days. They provided me with little craft kits so I could build things, puzzles and games that I could play in my room, photocopies of Sudokus, crosswords, things like that. So make sure you use the services that are available to you. Now I was obviously in quarantine. My husband was not, because he did not have any symptoms and he was taking the Tamiflu as a preventative. So he was able to go around the ship with a mask on. Our cabin steward knew that I was in quarantine. He didn't know the reason why, but I did tell him, and he got special permission. I didn't request it of him. I asked him just for a change of sheets, and I said I would change the sheets on the bed, but he said no, he was going to talk to his supervisors, and they provided him with a mask and gown and cap and gloves, and he came in actually one day and cleaned the entire room for us while I waited outside. Our cabin was literally one stairwell away from being outside, so I went upstairs masked and just waited outside on the of the ship for about 10 minutes while he cleaned the room and changed the sheets and everything for us. But I did inform him what I had and told them if nobody felt comfortable coming in that I would change my own sheets, but they said no, that wasn't necessarily that they had the gear to be able to do that. So the other thing I definitely would recommend is to use all the hand sanitizers. I definitely have to say it was a Norwegian cruise line, and they had plenty of hand sanitizers out. We saw people cleaning daily. So I think they were trying to mitigate the spread of anything that might come up. I think they did a really good job cleaning everything there. So definitely utilize the services that are available to you. And then I also wanted to say the fourth thing is follow the doctor's orders. Stay in your room, stay masked, don't contaminate other people, do what they say. I actually had to sign a waiver before leaving the sick bay saying that I agreed to stay in the room, that those were the captain's orders. I also had to sign a piece of paper for the country of Japan saying I would not leave the cruise ship until I tested negative. And they apparently had to file that with the ports to know that not necessarily who I was, but that there was an ill passenger who would not be leaving the ship because of the illness that he or she had. So follow the doctor's orders. Both doctors, there was two of them that I saw in my duration there, were very kind. They were very, very upfront with how much everything was going to cost. They went over everything with me. I think they treated me excellent. I got excellent care on board, above and beyond within, being seen within the first half an hour when they saw I had flu A and I have a history of asthma too. They treated me with nebulizers. They took a chest x-ray, determined that I had pneumonia and bronchitis, and that I was really struggling with the cough. So they gave me antibiotics. They gave me IV antibiotics. They gave me IV steroids. They gave me a lot of medications through my IV to help mitigate any long-term effects. And I was given Tamiflu right there in the sick bay with IV fluids and watched for another 2 or 3 hours before they released me, which I think really helped expedite me getting better sooner than later. They also gave me any over-the-counter medications, not gave me or sold me, I guess I should say. And like I said, the bill was rather expensive. For me, it was $5,052.47 for 3 to 4 hours of care in the sick bay. What would I do different in the future is trying to mitigate any getting illness on the board. I definitely would probably wash my hands more, wear a mask in large public areas, definitely carry my own hand sanitizer. I think it was just one of those things that I couldn't prevent. myself from getting sick. It just kind of happened to me. Luckily, even though my husband was sleeping next to me, with the quick thinking of the ship's doctors, they were able to get him Tamiflu to take, and he was able to stay off getting sick himself with his preventative dose of Tamiflu. So those are the things that I would definitely recommend that you do in the future. Again, just going over the 5 things that I said. Make sure you know your insurance. Purchase the extra insurance. When you're sick, make sure you use the services that are available to you, that are provided for you in the room, so that you have things to do and you can have all the services that you need while you're ill. Stay in bed and follow the doctor's orders and get better. Luckily for me, in 3 days after I took all the medications and followed the doctor's orders, I was called back down on the 3rd day to the sick bay, and they retested me, and I was negative for flu or anything else. So I was able to get up and move around the ship. And, I still wore a mask just because I was still sick and I didn't want to catch anything else above what I already had. And then the last thing that I said is definitely be really preventative, and wash your hands more, wear a mask in large groups, and just take care of yourself and get the rest that you need. So I hope these things helped you. Hopefully you won't have my experience and get sick on a cruise ship, but if you do, if you follow these things, I think it will help in your healing process, and hopefully you won't have the same experiences that I had with getting sick. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.